Hello, everybody, and welcome to Childcare Confidential. I am Jessica Hampton, and this is the fabulous Katie Denk.
Hello, hello.
Hello, we are excited to be talking to you. Well, actually, we're not really that excited to be
Nope.
talking to you about this today, but we're
Again.
excited to be here with you and talk through it with you. Let's put it that way. So, we are on week 3 of our CCDF cuts in childcare at Indiana. We're kind of covering, as most of us know, what is happening. So today is the first day after all of these cuts have taken place. So we felt like it was time to get back to that. But let's review real quick exactly what CCDF is. Katie, do you want to tell us?
Yeah. So the Child Care Development Fund is basically one pot of money, as someone famously likes to say, reoccurringly.
Hmm.
But that one pot of money basically helps families with tuition, allows for them to get a little bit of expenses paid, if not all, when it comes to childcare in licensed childcare centers. And typically, it's a very beneficial program that many providers in the state of Indiana and all around the country rely heavily on to ensure quality childcare is still very much a thing.
Absolutely. It's a very valuable program when it is used properly. And we, as a school, have used it for decades. We love it. It's been beneficial to our program to be able to provide quality care to the children that attend there. Recently, the state has said, well, we just aren't going to fund this as much as we have in the past. So they gave families, I think it was approximately a 3 week notice, maybe almost 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks. It's
Two
a 2 week
weeks. It was
turnaround
close.
time.
Yeah, it
It's
was
crazy.
2 weeks to get their affairs in order to be able to pay anywhere from a 10% increase. And they said a 35%, but that's not really the totals that all the Indiana providers were figuring out. They said 35%, but what happened with their numbers, which kind of got me later, is everybody started complaining about, the infants being cut 10% and the preschool kiddos being cut 15% and the school age kiddos being cut 35% because we all started doing math.
Ooh,
Something
math.
Indiana has not been great at doing lately,
Mm-mm.
apparently, because it's their issue that they can't make their own budget. Turns out they can. However, we'll go into that in another story.
Oof.
But so we're all doing the math. So actually, our school age children at our level 4 Paths to Quality Center in Indiana got cut 68% with the voucher cuts. So we went from charging, well, so basically right now, the school age program, the state is willing to pay you $61 a week
Oh,
at a
thank
level
goodness.
4 highest quality childcare center. We're going to pay you $61 a week for children to attend before and after school care. That barely covers the food that we provide.
I don't actually even think it does cover that in itself, Jess. I'm pretty
It's
sure that our
insane.
cost to child ratio has increased drastically,
Oh,
but
yeah.
the monies they're shelling out has not.
Insane. So $61 a week. Like, how do you even do that? But we will definitely be going more into that. But I wanted to explain that although they are saying these are what the cuts are, they based those percentage numbers off of what the CCDF rates were pre-COVID. Y'all, COVID was 2019. We are in 2025.
Oh, it's
So
not
they are
reflective?
saying that our rates never should have been raised since 2019. And if we're being real, they weren't raised years before that. So, like, there's no inflation. You're telling me that you're only raising it 10% because in 2019, that's what we made. Sorry, sir. That will not work here. No, no, no. Also, to add into all of this financial debacle, Indiana promised providers 2 years ago that they were going to reimburse for the enrollment registration fees that providers were charging and not to charge CCDF families for this. So we all listened like good little soldiers, right? Did what
Ooh,
we were supposed to.
yes.
Well, when people started asking, we started getting answers that were not all the same. Funny thing is, Indiana needs to realize their providers talk.
All of them.
All of them. There are several groups out there that are sharing all the tea. So keep that in mind, because what you say to one provider is not necessarily what you're saying to another. Very interesting facts. However, so sorry, distracted there a little bit. So they're now saying that those registration fees, which for our school is $100, when you sign up, you pay a $100 registration fee. That's pretty average around here. But they're saying all those registration fees that we didn't collect, we will not be getting. And that is now tied into the reimbursement rate. The same reimbursement rate that just went down 68% for my school age program. What?
I don't know how that makes any sense. It doesn't. It actually doesn't. And the biggest thing is too, Jess, which I feel like a lot of our listeners may kind of understand, but maybe not understand to the full capacity. In the state of Indiana, just Indiana, not talking about all the other states that are next to us, beside us, that's 55,000 children who rely on this child care development fund. 55,000. That's not like
huge.
4. That's a lot of kids that you're saying we're going to decrease you by 68% in the state of Indiana. I don't know what the other ones around us are doing, but we're limiting the type and amount of care that these children can and will receive, all because somebody doesn't know how to budget correctly.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, an interesting facts that are kind of coming around right now is all of this was done before Indiana closed their budget. And then come to find out there's extra funds that they found after. So we actually have a surplus in Indiana. We have a surplus in Indiana. And we are basically telling these school-age families that their kids can now become latchkey kids.
Ooh.
Because they can't afford to pay childcare. And providers can't afford to take this cut that Indiana somehow thinks we can.
No, they certainly can't. Actually, Jess and I were just going over this, but we did a little bit of research because, you want to bring fact to reality, and we want to make sure what we're speaking is correct and truthful. Yeah. It is
not just emotional.
Yes, it is emotional. It is, but it's factual too.
Yep.
But realistically, there's about 11% of providers already, and this started yesterday. Like, it went into effect yesterday, so today's the first day of the week. Like, we're getting into it, gearing into it. 11% of providers are already either proposing, possibly going to, or already have closed their doors because they can't take that cut. They can't afford it. Their staff can't afford it. There's schools all around us that are making these giant layoffs because no kids equals no staff. So you can't have staff if you don't have the kids. So now you have teachers without jobs.
Yep.
And you got
we've seen a lot of layoffs already. A lot of layoffs already in our field. And Kids Care Academy in New Albany.
Yep.
They closed their doors and had reported that the CCDF cuts are the reason. And they had a news station out there covering that. I also saw on one of our Facebook groups this weekend that a owner with 3 schools is closing all 3. Her comment was, hopefully this makes a difference and the state will listen, but I highly doubt it.
Ugh.
Ouch. To close your programs, to be like, okay, enough is enough. And they're still not listening. They know we're sitting on a surplus. They can fix this.
Yeah, but they're not going to admit that surplus exists either. Like, Jess has a way of finding out things before other people find out things. And I'm sure our listeners and other people who are super big on the fight to try to figure out how we can bring quality childcare back into the front line. But this money is sitting, and they're not willingly telling us all that it's sitting there. They're trying to keep it hush hush. Jess just has a way of finding out things.
I just talk to people in the community, and then I do look up things and make sure like what I am speaking on is, but I should say we are not lawyers. We are not politicians. No. We are providers in Indiana who are coaching, speaking, telling you our story basically, and what we're dealing with. We hope to share your stories as well throughout the process, but we are not advice in any way. So I want to make that very clear. So we take in all the information and we do our best to relay it. So our school, what we did was we offered a scholarship, which we do year round typically. But we offered a scholarship to these families where they could fill out a form and let us know their need, and we would do the best we could to help them out. Some scholarships we were able to give $10 a week to a family that would just kind of offset the cost. Some scholarships we were able to give more. Some scholarships we were able to cover the difference. The only thing we really looked at with those scholarships, for those that are out there considering doing a scholarship, we looked at the difference that families had to pay from CCDF 2 weeks ago to CCDF today. And if that family was facing a $400 a week difference, we knew they couldn't make it. And we needed to step in as a school and try to help them. There's a lot of meetings going around town, and we are getting involved in those too. Instead, we offered scholarships to what we could. We did lose families. We lost, how many? 24 was it?
24.
We lost 24 children with the cuts because they just can't afford anything. And personally, as an owner, I took a hit. I took a weekly hit to make our budget last so that we're not having to lay everybody under the sun off, because my people and my school are important to me more than childcare is important to the state of Indiana.
Very clear.
Let that sink in, because that's how the providers in Indiana feel.
Jess, how many of you do you think are floating around right now that are doing the same things that we are and that you are as an owner, of trying to make ends meet so that your families can feel seen and heard? I know for a fact, obviously Jess and I are in two different locations. I predominantly stay here to watch over the schools, but the 10% discount that we are able to offer some of the families who are in this crisis that simply just can't afford it, I can't tell you what it meant to them. The fact that even we did something. It's not everything. We couldn't cover it all. There's just no way as a small school that we could do that. But the fact that we were able to do something, our parents were like, man, I really feel like you've got my back. I think that you see through this and we're going to get through it together. But that's longevity. That's what it is.
Absolutely. And I think the reason I originally opened our schools was coming from a preschool teacher all the way through. I didn't come from another field. I came from teaching, and I love what I do, but I wanted to do it differently. And so that was important to me. And I think the kids and the families are the heart and soul of our program. And so for us to do anything but was not going to be acceptable in our book. And the problem is, I'm sure that's how a lot of the in-home boutique child care centers feel. I'm sure that's a lot of how the licensed child care centers that are, single owned or they own a few, basically all the places that don't have a big corporate backing. I'm sure they all feel that way. They're doing all they can to help families. But how much of a hit can some of those people take?
At some point it's going to run dry. The well will run
so
dry.
We're hoping, our hope is that Indiana gets their head straight, admits their surplus, gets down there, figures out how to give families the resources they actually deserve and need, instead of calling 211 that just sends them to Head Start. I'm sorry, Head Starts are closing in our area. So thanks, but no thanks. There's no resource there. Mm-mm. It's frustrating. The lack of common sense and resources right now is nothing like I've ever seen before in Indiana. Very disappointing.
I also fully am curious and wanting to know more of people who are listening. If you're a provider or an educator, we want to know how this is affecting you.
Yes.
We have so many amazing educators, providers, directors, all of the things that reach out to us almost on a daily basis to help us get behind the fight. You don't just have to sit there and take it. You can actually like voice your concern, voice how this is affecting you. Parents, please, please say how this is making it impossible for you to be able to go work. We have to fight back. And I feel like until Jess and I started doing this podcast where we actually got to open up about some of these challenges, we did used to kind of sit back. We kind of took it. We were just like, it is what it is. We got it.
We did. We were good little soldiers like everybody else. And then, like everybody else, the state has forced us into this situation that we didn't ask for, amongst the several other situations that we had to walk through this craziness of the last 5 years that has been a disaster of Indiana's licensing. They've put us here. So we have no choice to say enough is enough. We're done being good little soldiers. And we're actually going to stand up for our kids and families because that is why we chose this profession.
Yes, 100%. It's to be the voice for the tiny people who don't have one.
Exactly. We are not some big corporation. We chose this because we wanted to be a voice for the little people, right? That's what it sums up to be. And if we don't fight, if we sit back on the sidelines, we are not doing ourselves or the children of Indiana justice.
You're not
We're
wrong.
not. So it's time to stand up, get your voice, pull on your big girl panties, and let's go. Show up at the State House. Write the email. Make the phone call. Enough is enough.
I have been a superstar at email writing lately, Jess. We have tag teamed back and forth trying to get our voice across because as much as nobody wants to admit it to, and what it really comes down to is everybody's like, okay, well, this is going to blow over. It's going to get better. We're laying low for a minute and it's going to fix itself. But no, it's not. It's not because they're not going to do anything unless you back them into the same corner that they backed us as providers into. So until we do that, we're just kind of stuck. And when it comes to CCDF, Jess, I know you've heard some rumblings between the directors groups. Do you remember what they said of when the next round of funding is even going to open up for new families that this whole thing was about?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how factual it is because...
Infactual. Okay.
Yes. Sorry. It is because I heard it from providers. So, but the word on the street right now is that they are not opening up CCDF vouchers until 2027.
What?
Yep.
What are we supposed to do? Do you know how many families we currently have sitting on our CCDF waitlist right now at this exact moment, Jess?
I know we had 117 children on CCDF until Friday.
Ooh, yes. But sitting on that little magic bucket, right? The one that's like, I don't get awarded my funds yet. I'm waiting for the system to say, okay, we're approving you for this amount of money, but they've applied, blah, 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 blah. We've got 48 students, 48 kiddos that are currently just waiting to get into our program because they're waiting on CCDF to get their life together.
And you know what's sad, Katie?
What?
Is we are waiting and ready for those 48 children.
Oh.
Due to cuts, we can fit them into our schools.
Right now.
Right now. And the state is sitting on a surplus. What? Like, what are we doing, Indiana? What are we doing?
I don't think they know.
We have 48 children on our wait list that are ready to go, have been approved, and only waiting on funding. They've picked their school and are ready to go. And we have providers sitting out here going, we're ready for them. Have y'all considered our economy? Like, people working might be good for it? I don't know.
No, that would be so silly. I just
don't get it. We have staff that are ready. I know a lot of big corporate centers in Indiana have laid off tons of childcare providers right now.
Actually, based on the most recent research that we did just this week, Jess, that's about 30%. 30% of staff being laid off due to CCDF cuts. And it was premature too, because again, it did not officially begin until this week. But that's other
People
facilities
preparing for what's happening.
Yeah.
That's them getting ready for what's happening. Thankfully.
And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. I really don't. I understand. I really get it.
You have to do what you have to do, but we're all just trying to survive through the whole thing. Thankfully, for those that are in Indiana and know CCDF a little bit, but may not know, CCDF usually pays 32 days in the rear. So if you do have to make some of those hard calls, you still have time to do so as you're seeing kind of the differences between your budgets. I know we were scrambling this morning to kind of really see the impact and get some new numbers together so we could update our budgeting. And it's scary. It's scary to look at. But remember, you do have a little bit of time because we're being paid in the rear. Now that check's coming and it's coming short pretty quickly. So make sure you are doing what you can to plan. But I know this was all put on us very last minute. And so everybody is scrambling.
And when it comes to our families too, because I do know that some of our families do currently listen to our podcast. So shout out to them.
Yay, awesome.
Yeah. But with that, any family that's looking for a child care center, especially in the heat of all of this crazy chaos that we're currently ensuing, a level 4 pass to quality school is going to be your highest reimbursement rate, which means if you're on CCDF, you're going to owe less of that overage if you find a level 4 school. And that doesn't just go for us. It's any school that you can find that's a level 4 accredited school. It's also going to tell you kind of the quality that you're bound to get out of childcare too. But I think that's an important piece to keep in mind.
Absolutely. And that's a great resource. We're not on here just promoting our school, but it is a great resource. Coming from someone who's worked very, very hard to be on a level 4, this is the first time I have felt like Indiana has really made a difference between levels 3 and 4. And I'm grateful for that.
So
the difference between level 3 and level 4 is national accreditation. And that is the only difference in the Indiana Pass to Quality system. So we worked very hard for our level 4. There should be rewards because there was a lot of financial commitment. There was a lot of investment. We have to pay higher. We have to do things differently. And there's a lot more to it. It is a great resource to mention to families that if you do need care and you really can't afford that difference in pay, because I would never want a family to move their child and go through a transition if they can't afford to pay that. I think they should stay where they're at. It's best for the child if it's a good environment. But if you can't afford that and you need to look for some other resources, check out some level 4s. You will have less of a copay. Supposedly, I don't want
overage. Yes.
I am not the person. This is advice from an opinion. That's all.
Very opinion.
But yeah, it is a great resource for those families, at least some little bit of help. And then if you're a provider, I'd also say, look at doing scholarships. What can you do? Even if it's, like I said, quite a few of ours were only $10 a week, because that's what we could squeeze out of a budget somewhere. And then other families got different amounts too. But look at what you can do if you can. I don't agree that you should be paid less, but I also think you have to keep your program afloat.
And sometimes that means doing things that you don't necessarily want to do for the better of the people.
Yeah. I really didn't think we would bend at all when this first came out. And then I saw 117 kids' names. And then I knew the faces that went with those names. And it puts a little different spin on things for you.
Especially when they look at you with those big old eyes and they're so excited to be there. We just did a whole campaign too. Jess and I were just talking about this, but a whole campaign where the kids got to go through and say what their favorite thing about school was. And my absolute favorite is you've got these little 3-year-olds that come up to you and you're like, okay, what's your favorite thing about coming to school? And she's like, I love that when I come to school, I get to be me. And that's so cool. How does that not melt your heart? You actually have no choice. You have to melt. And if you don't, then you're in the wrong field. But that's
I
100%
wonder.
accurate.
I wonder if Indiana, when they were thinking of all of this, if they thought about the child care's provider's heart and how we are not ones to not bend when it comes to the quality of care for the child, that our hearts are really in it. And sometimes that makes us not make the greatest business decisions because we care so much. This is a field that if you're in it and you don't care, you're in the wrong field. Like, go somewhere else. You have to care. Now, you definitely have to still have a business sense and make good decisions no matter what is thrown at you. That is the
Yes.
biggest thing. But I would say a lot of my decisions come back to my heart, and those names definitely, that was hard. But they don't get to put a name to a face. They just get to look at a number and say, "Oh, well, I guess you guys don't need this." Well, we're here telling you we do. So maybe you should start listening.
And they're not a number. Every
No.
kid has a name.
Yep.
Every single
Every
one.
kid has a name. Every kid has a face.
And I bet if you ask the
It's,
providers, every single provider could tell you every single name of every single child that's in that school.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's discouraging right now, but I think we're either going to get something together, because I can tell you, Mr. Olson, directly to you, that
Hello.
your providers, hello, we're your new best friends. Your providers in Indiana, they're waiting for you to get terminated, sir, or to come up with a better plan, because we have not seen anything that you have done yet that has been acceptable.
We're watching though
We're
to see
waiting.
if you
We're
make that
ready.
choice.
Waiting for you to do it. Our child care providers are directly saying, when you said we could either protect providers or kids, and we chose kids, your providers are saying that's an offensive oversimplification.
Mm.
I think that was stated very well by Miss Missy Matasit, and I may have pronounced that wrong. I apologize, but she put out a great article, and I think that that was very, very well said. It was definitely offensive. I don't know one provider that did not take offense to that statement. It's been brought up in every group, and good luck getting people to forget about that. Isn't it like 7 good things you need to do to forget one negative thing or something?
Unless everything that comes out of your mouth is a bunch of donkeys. You know what? I don't know that he's going to get out of that. He done dug his hole pretty deep.
It's pretty deep. It's pretty scary, sir. But yeah, that's definitely also an oversimplification. You're obviously, if you thought you were choosing the kids, sir, I don't know what you were thinking, because the providers and the families, they provide quality care for the kids. So you can't just choose one or the other. I'm sorry, it doesn't actually work that way. But I would have thought he would know that.
I think he's going to figure it out real soon.
That's what's so confusing to me. Like, whoever thought this was going to go over pretty well? Or do they think that it'll go over and then we'll just shut up?
Yes, that's 100% what it comes
See,
down to.
I wanted to get this information out too. There's a statewide provider meeting, and it is for providers and families that would love to come share their story. It is with the Indiana NAEYC program. So that's INAEYC. And that is at Little Duckling Early Learning at 5350 East 38th Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46218. And we will put that in our comments so that you have the direct information. We will get this out before that meeting for sure. We would love to have everybody show up as much as you can. I am out of state, so I will not be able to attend, but I am definitely keeping up in that stuff. I know there are already, I think, 30 people planning to attend that meeting, and it will be some news stations as well. So that's good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're doing a lot of stuff. Corey Kearns and Holly Maxwell, they've been doing a lot of cool stuff to kind of lead the charge on some of this. There's a lot more people I could mention there. I am drawing a blank off the top of my head. Go figure, because I'm on the spot. But I have loved staying up with your posts. I love the stuff that you are sharing. It's really helped us to stay in tune with everything too.
I think it's super beneficial that providers, families, children, and even the lovely Indiana government, you should know that we stand with you. We don't agree. And like Mr. Olson, not very memorable, so I guess I should try to remember. But what we would like to say to you is, if you want us to choose government's poor planning on their budget or the children, we choose the children.
We choose the children too, sir. We're just going to do a better job of it.
And we'll make sure that you know, as well as all of our counterparts who clearly have a plan in motion to try to make sure that it gets through.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I think we've given tons of details on CCDF and what is going on in Indiana. It's sad. It's bleak right now in Indiana. I am happy to see that other states are not doing the same thing, which I've seen on our groups as well. Very proud of those states for really getting in there and supporting children and families and their realistic need that is there, that care is needed, and just early childhood education. It's not just care, guys, that we're providing. We are providing education.
Quality education.
Like, when do you think the brain develops? Prison? Okay, I gotta stop because I am gonna go too far.
Okay.
Let's pull it on back. We gotta go. It's time to go.
Yes.
But we love you all. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Definitely step up. Share your story. We will link everything in the comments. Make sure to get on there. Share your story with us. We'd love to share it with you and help you find outlets for that. We just got to keep going. We're still fighting, and we're fighting right along with you. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.